Okay, this video is a BSR C129R2 record changer that I picked up at an estate sale. And when I got it, it was froze up. The grease in it had hardened. These were made back in the 70s, and the grease hardens in them, and the spindles froze. You can't get it out. The platter won't turn. The mechanisms underneath are usually all gummed up and won't operate correctly. So you have to, what I did, you have to take some heat, and I took my soldering iron and I put it on the spindle and heated it up. It takes a little while, but if you're patient, after a while you can smell the grease starting to get hot, and then you can work it and get the spindle up out of it. And then after you get the spindle out, then you heat the shaft that the spindle sits down in, and after some time it heats up and you can pull the platter up off of it. And then once you get that off, then there's a cam in there that operates the pickup and the set down and the mechanisms, and you usually sometimes have to heat that shaft to get it up off of there. And you got to clean all the old grease out and re-lube everything. Then you have to flip it over and do the underside, get all that old grease and the mechanisms out and get it cleaned up, and then re-lube it so everything's working smoothly. And another thing you want to watch is the spindle should be facing towards the pivot arm, the pivot on the tone arm. And a lot of times when you get them, when they're locked up, somebody's tried to crank on the platter and they've got it spun out of position. And to fix that, after you have the spindle out and the platter up off of there, you can get vice grips on the shaft. Put a cloth around the shaft and then just gently nudge that shaft into the correct position. And most of the time, if you're lucky, that'll work. And that's what I had to do with this one. This one has the 3 speeds. It's the C129R2. It has 33 RPM, 45, 78. The 33 is for the LPs, the 12-inch records. 45 for the single, the 7-inch. And the 78's for the shellac, the old shellac records. And they're 10-inch. And this has the stylus on it there. It's marked LP. That's what you want to have it set to for the 33 and the 45. And then if you're going to play 78, you want to flip it. It'll just flip over, and then it'll show 78 on. It'll be over here on this side. And that's the stylus side that you want to use for 78s. And you need to set the size when you go between them from 12-inch, 10-inch, 7-inch, depending on what you're playing. And then this is your cue. You lift for the tone arm. It'll lift it up and set it down. And this is the adjustment for the tracking force. And if you twist it to the right, clockwise, it would be, some people, I guess the new won't understand clockwise and counterclockwise because everything's digital, but if you go to the right, it'll lighten the pressure, lessen it. And if you go to the left, it'll increase the pressure. And there's another screw here that you need sometimes. They're out and you need to adjust it. It's this one right down here, this screw. And that controls where the tone arm sits down when it comes across onto the record. And you want to have that set correctly, or it'll set in the middle of a song, or it won't set on it'll miss the record entirely. And then if you don't have it right, then when you get to the end of the record, it won't trigger it to trip and pick up the tone arm and bring it back over to the post. So you need to set that correctly. And the way I usually set that, I always try to set them about 1/8 of an inch into that lead-in wax right there on a 33 on a 12-inch, and that seems to work for, once you have that set right, it seems to work for all the sizes. You don't have to do anything more. One other thing that you may need to adjust is the pickup height, and that's done with this screw right here, and you can adjust that to get the correct height for the tone arm to lift up when it's coming across, and coming back. Okay, while we have it up, I'm going to show you the it has the TC12H1 cartridge. It's a tetrad, it's a ceramic, and a T5 HD tetrad stylus. And those are what were in it, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm sure you'd want to replace them. They're pretty old. One other thing, these are ceramic cartridges, so you do want to, when you're hooking this up to your receiver or your amplifier, you want to hook it up to the auxiliary ports, not to the phono port. Okay, I'm going to see if I can't get this set up, and we'll see if we can't get the show you how it works. Okay, since we have the 33s on there, the 12-inch, we'll just start with that. Okay, you move the lever to the start position, and that gets the platter spinning. And then you can pull it forward to auto and release. The first record drops, and then it would play and go across and then lift up and come back and drop the second one. I'm going to use the auto to get it across, and it'll set the second one down. See, that's setting down real nice, and then it would play across. And then it would pick up and work its way back. And now we'll try some 45s. This is the 45 adapter. And this is for BSR. They make them for different record changers, so you want to be sure you have the one for the BSR. Okay, I'm going to have a stack of 6 45s. I'll set it to the 7-inch size and the 45 RPM. The first one drops. We'll auto through them. And when you have everything set right, it should just be dropping one at a time. They can get finicky. And like I said, I'm going to do another video, and I'll turn the sound up so you can hear. One more. And it would go across until it triggered it, and then move back and sit down on the post. That's basically the operation of one of these, so thanks for watching.